Imagine how much more productive and effective you could be as a sales rep if you were to maximize your LinkedIn right now to 100% of its capabilities. I mean, really think about that for a second. Ching, ching. In today's episode, my guest is going to give you some ideas of how you could do exactly that. Yes. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast here on TSE TV on YouTube. I am your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, we have Bryn Tillman. Now, Bryn I'm going to straight up say it. She's a LinkedIn expert. Lady knows a thing about helping individuals take those connections and turn them into actual conversations, and how to make your profile not just a resume, but actually something that is worthwhile, that people can see, recognize your authority or your capabilities, and to convert that. And many of us are not utilizing LinkedIn to 100% of its capability. I'm telling you straight up, because I haven't been to 100%. Anyone doing that, maybe Bryn, but for most of us, we're just trying to figure it out. And on this episode, Bryn is going to lay out and give you some practical things that you could take away. Listen to as we go right into this episode as she talk about her excitement. Just listen to this excitement for LinkedIn and her passion, and how she's going to give you some simple things you can take right away. As soon as we jump into the episode, you hear some actionable things. So I want you to write them down, take your Evernotes, pens, and paper, whatever you're using, and take down some of these notes so you can apply it to your LinkedIn profile. Welcome to the show, Bryn.
Hi, Donald. How are you? So good to see you.
Oh, I can't complain. Another day in paradise here, man. I'm excited. What's even more exciting is the fact that I get to talk to you about making sure I use my LinkedIn more effectively. So forget about the listeners who are listening. This is like a selfish conversation today.
Love it. I love it. This is my favorite thing to talk about.
Well, Bryn, I appreciate this. LinkedIn, right now during this pandemic, it's been a heaven sent for many sellers. And, folks are having difficulties getting hold of prospect and getting them on a phone, much less to be able to generate opportunities. So before we even go into that piece a little bit more, just tell me, what are some things you're seeing right now that's being effective for sellers when it comes towards LinkedIn during this time period?
So I'd love to start with what's ineffective, because there are some behaviors that we have to stop fast.
Yeah.
So back in the day, like January, February of 2020, right? People would connect with you and then pitch. And that was terrible. Today, they are so desperate that the pitch is in the connection request.
You noticed that too?
Yes. It's like they're so desperate they don't know how to get your attention. And I am prepared with, if you're looking for better ways to connect with people, let me know. I've got some free resources. I mean, that's what I'm just telling them, because it's an epidemic. Like, we have a pandemic, but we have a LinkedIn epidemic. And that's if you don't mind me saying, the pitch slapping. It's terrible. Yeah. And it's really turning people off. And people are actually considering leaving the LinkedIn platform because they feel like they're being pitched constantly.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to say is, to everyone listening, stop now. Like, cold stop. Because it's not even not ineffective, it's damaging. I mean, I can't begin. I can tell you on so many levels how bad it is. Although I want to spend more time on the good stuff, I just need to say, like, this is the bad stuff. So let's talk about, like, how to think differently.
Sure.
What's the mindset shift behind moving from looking at LinkedIn as this cold calling platform that if I just hit enough people, somebody's going to raise their hand and say, I'll buy? It just doesn't work that way. Cold calling generally is less and less effective. I love warm calling, and believe me, more than anything, I want to be on as many conversations as possible. I don't sell on LinkedIn. What I do is I get conversations booked from LinkedIn, right? So the phone is still very relevant, but we only want calls and conversations of people that know who we are and are waiting for it, or even better, excited to have that call. So the mindset shift first is treat people on the other side of every message as you would if they were on the other side of a table.
Mm.
This is our real, a lot of times in real life networking, guess what, guys? This is our real life networking now.
Yes.
Like, this is it, right? We're not going to business card exchanges. We're not going to conferences or trade shows. This is it. So this needs to be treated as if it is, because it is, real life networking. And we've got to get in that shift. So I would never walk up to you and reach out and go, hey, Mr. Kelly, I'm Bryn Tillman. Pleasure to meet you. We help companies just like you would never do that in real life, in person, right?
Yes.
So why would you do that on LinkedIn? And we're doing it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So that's the first thing, is we have to shift into, there is another human being on the other side of these messages.
So so we are not pitching and pitch slapping, as you would say. We're not just pitching them something as soon as we got connected with them, and we're treating them like human beings. We're having conversation. We want to get to the point where we have conversation. We want to have dialogue.
Right.
The folks who are, and I get it where some of the sellers are coming from, because now management is telling them that we need you to maintain your same amount of appointments that if you're a BDR or if you're a seller, you need to still do this. So they feel like it is a shortcut, but it's not a shortcut. And the other thing I want to go back to, you've probably seen this too, Bryn. If I'm a part of a team, say abccompany.com, I'm a part of that team as a BDR, and I just sent you this pitch at the very beginning. It's not you that I'm hurting alone. It's all the other BDRs and all the other sellers behind me, because then you're going to bring this back to your company and say, that ABC company, all they do, they're just a bunch of spammers. Do not connect with them. You know what I mean?
Correct. It's devastating in short and long term.
Yeah.
Hey, absolutely. So go ahead.
Now I think you're gonna go into some good stuff there now, because we got them on the edge of our seats. Their seats now. They're thinking like, well, now that I know what I shouldn't do, what do I say to get these people into conversations? You alluded to that. So
yeah. So there's another kind of still mindset piece that's going to lead us to doing the right activity, which I promise we'll get to. But we've got to earn the right to get the conversation. The idea that we are assuming they want to talk to us is broken, right? They are getting 5, 10, 15 of these a day. There is absolutely no reason why you connecting with them is an agreement to have a call or a conversation. It's not, oh my God, he connected with me, I have a lead now. It is not.
Yeah.
It is a business card in the amongst of, like, they dropped it in your jar lead. That's as much as that is. That is not a hand raise saying, I am interested in your products or services. So, it's just, sure, I'll connect with you. Now you have to earn the right to keep it moving forward.
Yeah.
That means, number one, your profile has to be positioned as a resource. It is found, because they will look at it when you connect with them. So when they get there, they need to see immediately, they need to get value. You need to provide value right in your profile. The goal of your profile, if you're in sales, is to get them to say, well, let's say all content, including your profile, needs to do 5 things to get the call.
Yeah.
First thing, it needs to resonate with your buyer. So whether it's your messaging or your profile or content, your buyer needs to immediately look at it and say, this content is for me. The next thing it has to do is create curiosity. Go, I would like to learn more about that. That's interesting. That gets them to lean in. Now, this is where people often break down and go into pitch, and then they go, oh, I'm out, right? So resonate, create curiosity. The next thing we have to do is we have to teach them something new. It has to have a moment of, oh, interesting. So curiosity, resonates, curiosity. You just taught me something new, and I'm going, there's something here. Now go ahead.
Is that like in your about me, or is that in
your about section? Well, so that's interesting, because we move the about to about them.
Yeah.
almost blog post like. About you can go into your experience, because if they made it down there, they care.
Yeah.
But it's like if you ever started a keynote speech with here's the title of my keynote, now let me tell you all about me before I tell you what you're going to learn, you'd be like, why am I sitting here listening to this person? But if you start with, here's like the learning stuff, and then you loop your story into it, then they're interested. So it's like, so here's the about section. We need to, so now wait, we've resonated with them, we've created curiosity, taught them something new. Number 4 needs, what they just learned needs to get them thinking differently about their current state. Our biggest competitor is status quo.
Yeah.
If we can't get them to think differently, they're never going to take our call, or at least get curious about thinking differently.
Yeah.
Like seeing a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And then everything that we just did needs to lead to our solution. So we could get them thinking differently, but it doesn't lead to us. We have to make sure that what we just taught them leads to our solution. And that's when they raise their hand and say they want more. I learned so much from your profile. I can't imagine how great it would be if we take a call.
Wow.
Now we want to do that beyond profile in our content, right? So social selling is about content. We need to, our content, we have to stop telling people how we help them and simply help them. We make a mistake of constantly telling people how we can help them, but they don't believe us.
Yeah.
Because everyone's doing that. So we have to help them. Michael Port, who heroic public speaking, he and his wife Amy are magic, right? Magic. Said in years ago, and it really was formative in my philosophy driven, in driving my philosophy, which is give away so much value that you're afraid you gave too much, and then give more.
Holy crap.
Isn't that magic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that was so formative for me. And I realized that I had to not just live my life that way and live my business that way, but it was the cornerstone of how we were going to teach other people to be on LinkedIn and social. They hire you because you bring value. Corporate vision, 74% of buyers choose the sales rep that was first to add value and insight.
Yeah.
Not the first to give the lowest bid.
Can you please say that again? I think some people in the back didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I mean right? So it's value and insight. It's not on price. It's just not on price. I don't care what you think. It's not. If you are providing now, if it's an RFP and they never talk to you and there's no relationship, that might be another story. But if it's not an RFP and you get a conversation with these people and you are able to bring value above and beyond, that's what they want. I mean, so, it's interesting. We can buy lots of things, but if we don't leverage it, well, let's pick CRM, for example. Let's say you sell a CRM.
Yeah.
And we're selling this CRM versus this CRM. They're probably mostly going to do the same things.
Yeah.
But if you get a CRM with no support, no matter how good it is, and let's say you get the best CRM in the world with no support, or an average CRM with lots of support, and it was even more money, you're going to get better adoption. With the support, you're going to get better usage. You're going to get better data. Right. So it's really about how much do you bring to the table along with your products and services. That's the extra value. How are we guiding them, or are we selling and handing off? And then what are we handing off to? Right. What we have to build a relationship of trust.
Yeah.
We have to build an authentic connection and let them know that we are going to be with them. Now, if you're an SDR, I get that you're not going to follow that relationship all the way through. So depending on your company, so I don't want to change everything up, but if you sell someone to an appointment with the field rep. Connect with them on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Follow up and see how things are going. Stay connected in your CRM to see, did this sell? Find out, just do a little touch points. Why? They are your best referrals.
Yeah.
You want another appointment? Once that field rep is done and they sold and now they're in client success or wherever it is right now, you have kept yourself in front of them in little bits. Maybe it's content. Maybe you found something that's going to help them through the journey. You're just building and maintaining your value. Now you go to them and say, hey, I heard everything went great. You guys are happy? Yes. Oh, that's fantastic. I happen to notice that you're connected to 18 people on LinkedIn that I'm going to be reaching out to for the same reason I originally reached out to you. Would you have 5 minutes where I can run these names by you quickly and you can give me some insights before I reach out? And you go through those 18 names and it goes down to 8 people that they know that they think this would be great. And we say, is it okay if I mention when I reach out to them that you're our happy client?
Yeah.
And sure. Now I get to prospect with name dropping a happy client to 8 people. So I could make 100 calls today and not nearly have the success of the 50% when I reach out to 8, 4 will become calls.
Yeah.
Like scheduled calls. But
and
it's about building relationships and building trust. But every single person that you have that gets sent, that you schedule or not schedule, even if they're like, call me, connect on LinkedIn if you've had a conversation with them. Because they're valuable in your network.
No, you're so right on so many different levels, Bryn. And one of the things that I find that it's fascinating about what you just shared is the concept of working the smarter, not harder, and how the outcome will. Sometimes people, I just interviewed Anthony Iannarino the other day. Anthony, everybody loves Anthony, right? But one of the things
he treated me to dinner years ago, and that was it. I was hooked. Okay.
But one of the things Anthony talked about was how so many people are trying to be busy versus productive, right? How so many sellers, they might think, well, if I do the cold call, if I just blast it, then I'm being very productive. But sometimes it's not necessarily sensible work. I mean, obviously, I have no qualm against the phone. I love the phone. But you want to make sure you do it smart, right? Because you don't want to, and especially using a strategy like this, where you're using some digital aspect with social and you're coupling that with the phone, magic happens there. And I think that's a much big, and we just have to change our mind, thinking that if I make 150 dials, that means that it's a productive day. It was back in the 90s, but may not be the
I grew up there.
Productive days now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in an inbound call center and then was promoted to an outbound call center. So I went from inbound of 120 calls a day to outbound 80 minimum calls a day. And like literally, if I didn't make 80 calls, but I made a sale, like if I didn't hit my minimum, the percentage of my commission was lower.
Wow.
Like there was like a formula, and part of it was, did I make enough outbound calls? Which was so interesting because we play the system, right? I might have a 45-minute call with someone that killed my stats, but turned into a big sale.
Yeah.
And like literally we had a list of numbers that went to voicemail. So we would know we had to make like 25 extra calls so that we could hit our number. Like it was crazy how, I mean, this was in 1992, right? But we knew like I always hit my number, but the outbounds were my challenge.
Yeah.
So we had to play, it's such a silly system. It should be revenue, right? Like
all the time.
Right. Like, so, but that's what it was. And that's fine. And, I learned so much and it was a wonderful opportunity. And I'm glad I got to do the cold calling to know what is and isn't effective. But even back then, what was effective was to call existing clients and ask for referrals.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the ability to search and filter their connections until LinkedIn. That's the magic. Referrals is nothing new.
Yeah.
But referrals with the ability to look through their connections is absolutely game changing.
That's where the money happens there. Bryn, what else can we do to make sure we turn those connections into conversation? Any other tips before we wrap up here today?
Well, so the biggest tip I would say first is download or export your connections. You can download them into an Excel spreadsheet. All of your connections, first name, last name, title, company, date you connected. And take inventory of your existing connections. We're finding about 10% of our existing connections are people that we want conversations with.
Interesting.
And because they're an existing connection, you can hop on your mobile device and send a little video in the LinkedIn app. That's just a little, hi Donald, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since we connected, and I'm taking this time to just reach out to people in my network that really I'd love to reconnect with. Here's why. Or maybe, as an entrepreneur, I wanted to share some great content on X, Y, and Z. Make it a third-party content, not your own, so it doesn't feel like pitching.
Yeah.
I came across this Forbes article. I came across this great podcast.
Oh, yes.
Send third-party content, not your own, or they feel like it's a pitch. Find a great piece of content. So if you sell to salespeople, you've got tons of podcasts waiting from Donald Kelly to send, right? Send away. And I, came across this great podcast. I thought you might like it. I'm going to stick a link below, but make the video.
Yeah.
They can't not respond to the personal video.
Yeah.
The response rate is huge. Paste the link, send. You can get through, 30 in an hour.
Yeah.
Right? If you can count those as your cold calls, as your call numbers, talk to your manager, they can look and see however you want to do that. It is so effective. So if you have 1,000 connections, there are 100 people that you want to be talking to that you can do this with right now. So that's the big first tip.
Yeah. That's a powerful one that you can just literally do, especially if some of us going into that time right now where it's going to be a lull over the next, several weeks. Why not do something more effective like this, where it's a meaningful connection, where somebody more than likely will respond? My team is discovering, Bryn, that a lot of the LinkedIn conversations they're having, people responding over the weekend because they're taking the time to, go back into their profile or just get back to people. Like this morning, the team was sharing, like, man, we're getting a lot of these weekenders. I'm like, hey, that's awesome. But keep those conversations.
Working from home, it all kind of blends anyway.
Yeah. Oh my, so good. Bryn, if there's one major piece of advice you would give to someone listening to this episode, what's that one major piece from all the stuff that we talked about today?
But if we're going to kind of go back to what we talked about, treat people on the other side of your message the way you would if they were on the other side of the table. These are human beings, not leads.
Absolutely love that. 100% believe it. And if folks want to get connected with you, Bryn, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
So good news is I'm still the only Bryn Tillman on LinkedIn. So that's a great place to find me. And I've got a gift, if that's okay. If you go to linkedinlibrary.com, it's lots and lots of free resources, all free. LinkedIn, give away so much value that you're afraid you gave too much and then give more. We put it all into linkedinlibrary.com.
linkedinlibrary.com. Well, we'll go ahead and we'll put that in our show notes. And we'll also, if you're watching on TSE TV here, you'll see the link down below to go ahead and connect with Bryn. So Bryn, thank you for coming on the show today. Thank you for your wisdom, and we appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I think you are one of the best podcasters in the business. You are definitely in my top 5 of always listening. You're fabulous. Thanks.
Thanks, Bryn. Listen, that was Bryn Tillman, and I want you to go ahead and connect with Bryn. If you haven't done so, just go ahead and connect with her on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on TSE TV on YouTube, just scroll down. You'll see some information down below in the notes section, and click on it. You'll get a chance to go straight to her LinkedIn profile, and also go to her website and learn about her. Maybe she could come into your organization virtually, of course, and help you and your team, or perhaps you need help as an individual. Go ahead and hire Bryn, because it's gonna take your profile and give you the added measure, the added success that you need. I did the episode the other day, and I spoke about how we've seen that 70% of social referrals, people you connect with on LinkedIn or on some other virtual platform, those referrals tend to convert so much better than any other leads that salespeople get. So if this is the case, why not take advantage of it? Why not beef up your LinkedIn? And why not see if you can get it? If you're at 25% now with the capability of using LinkedIn to its max, what if you can get it to a 50% or even a 45%? You'll be working magic. So I want you to do that. Take advantage of it. And if you haven't done so already, I mean, you got to go check out our partners. We have some friends that are giving away some amazing deals and giving away some amazing offers. So I want you to check out our friends, our sponsors. We've communicated with them. We told them some tips, some things that you want, and have given you some of these great things. Take advantage of them. Use them. Try them. As always, I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals. But most importantly, I want you to change your mindset each and every single day and go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.